What is up, everybody? It is Katerina, also known as the ExtraTomboy on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I just wanted to say what's up and stop in here. I was about to drill off my nails, and I know that I'm in the middle of doing a messy house transformation, but the only areas that I've cleaned, and I'm pretty sure that you guys can see back there, has been my desk area and my kitchen, and I'm going through my closets and doing everything where I'm just like getting rid of clothes and doing stuff like that. So I will be recording that relatively soon. Today, I wanted to talk about this book that took me a year to read. It is called The Secrets of Six-Figure Women by Barbara Stanny. This book is honestly a gem, a complete eye-opener for the woman that is an entrepreneur, that is maybe thinking that she is an under-earner, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, or, you know, just pretty much any woman in general. Like, you could be a stay-at-home mom and read this. You could be anything. It would be considered a self-help book, I believe. It is, you know, it's pretty hefty. It has about 300 pages. This book took me a year to read because of all of the intense details in it. It is, you know, pretty amazing, everything that she talks about, but not only that, she brings up a lot of very sensitive topics and she has no shame in it. She admits that she was an under-earner herself. Barbara Stanny admits, you know, a ton of things. And the reason that she had gotten started on doing this interview of, basically this book is tons of interviews with hundreds of women who get paid at least six figures a year and how they got there. So the reason that Barbara, you know, kind of got on this journey was, she talks about it in her preface. Her past husband had been trusted with all of the investments and he had poorly invested things, and because he poorly invested things, they ended up, you know, not being where they wanted to be. She has always been a writer. In this book, she talks a lot about being an under-earner. So I'm going to quote really quick. Barbara talks about the purpose of my express purpose in writing this book is this: to identify the secrets of six-figure women and come up with some straightforward strategies for applying those secrets to your own situations. That is, you know, the whole point of the book. I was sucked in after after reading the introduction and the preface. However, I stopped reading it because it just got too real for me and I started to get a little bit stressed out with the book. And then I'm super tired of the position that I've put myself in and I want to get out of it. So because of that, I picked the book up again and I finished it. I had maybe finished it in about 2 weeks and I was only like a third of the way through when I started. Barbara, right in the beginning, gets straight to the point on what under-earning is. She had set up workshops in her hometown called Overcoming Under-Earning. The groups were invaluable in helping her integrate the lessons that she was learning from six-figure women and how to apply them in real life. So she then goes on to describe what an under-earner is. Let's get to it. So she says, simply put, an under-earner is anyone who earns below her potential. She also says she could bring in more and generally wants to, but for whatever reason, she doesn't. She basically talks about how we are much more focused on talking about the differences between men and women instead of realizing that the problem is that we settle for less. We are under-earners because we choose to be. Next thing that she says later on is that the lives of under-earners are anything but sane and peaceful. They are often overworked and financially strapped. They commonly live paycheck to paycheck, habitually scrambling to cover expenses, forced to go without in order to live on less. I completely relate to this. I'm not sure if you guys do. Under-earners unwittingly recreate old messages instead of just letting them go. When I started reading this book, the under-earners thing really got to me because at the time that I was in, I had my own business. I was completely solely independent. I had no help. And I was an under-earner. I had the opportunity to make so much more money, but because I felt like the location that I was in and the people that were around me and the fact that I was a woman, I couldn't possibly make more. Basically, she figures out a way to fix that by telling us the secrets of six-figure women, which She says that there's 6 secrets, but in the very beginning, she discloses that there's actually 7. The first secret being financial success is possible in almost any field, and lack of education does not have to hold you back. So reading throughout it, she talks to many women, and a lot of them had high school educations. And a lot of them didn't start making 6 figures until they had finally gotten to a point where they were fed up and they were saying basically, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. I refuse to be held in this bind. And some of the women had been through bankruptcy, some of the women had been through divorces, some of the women were stay-at-home moms for the last 30 years. There just were so many different situations, different lifestyles, and all of these women were able to achieve 6 figures. The second secret is working hard doesn't mean working all of the time. So a lot of the under earners that had turned into 6-figure women, or I think she calls them, I forget what it is, she calls them like high success earners or something like that. So when they turn into a high success earner from an under earner, it was because they weren't valuing themselves. Maybe they were freelancers and working from home and they were charging too little. A lot of the women had said that they kept raising their rates until people were saying no continuously. They said that if they felt that they were worth something and someone said no, they were going to go on to the next person. They weren't going to take less because that is what they are worth. And if you are confident in what you're worth, then you should have no issue achieving 6 figures. Basically, was what the point was of that. Secret 3 was focus on fulfilling your values rather than financial gain. A lot of mistakes, including myself, I've made this on multiple occasions, is when I'm out for a job or going out for a job, I used to look for the ones that paid 6 figures only. I didn't have the value there. I didn't believe in myself. And I actually lost an opportunity to be the director of marketing at Universal Music Group because I didn't believe in myself. Because I have a strong background in music. I have a strong background with working with the digital side. I have a strong background working in marketing. So I was a perfect fit for that job. But once I got on the phone interview, which is the first interview that you go through, I got so nervous and so scared that I completely messed it up because I no longer saw my value. And on the phone with the interviewer, she had said that she didn't think I was a good fit because I didn't have enough experience. And later that night, I sat and I thought, and I was actually reading this book at the time, but I sat and I thought about it and I emailed her. And I said, you know what, maybe I'm not a good fit for you, but I definitely belong in this industry, because she had made an insinuation that I don't even belong where I'm at. We're all supposed to be wherever we are. So that is something that never, ever, ever let someone tell you where you are and aren't supposed to be. You're supposed to be wherever the fuck you feel like it. Secret 4, loving what you do is much more important than what you do. I can't stress this enough because I've worked plenty of jobs that I've hated, not liked, and I was only there because the money was paying my bills. If you don't love what you do, guess what? You are never going to be successful. You are never going to move up the scale. Maybe you are moving up the scale and you're making 6 figures and it is amazing, but is the money worth you staying there, or should you go somewhere else? Because in my opinion, if you hate what you're doing, working 40 hours a week at a location, whatever the position is, isn't worth it. Why would that be worth it to anybody? Secret 5, feel the fear, have the doubts, go for it anyway. And this was when I read this secret. We have a little voice in our head and it's always telling us we can't do something, we aren't good enough, and that is doubt. And because we have self-doubt, we no longer have that self-esteem built up or belief in ourselves to go ahead and go out and get whatever it is. If you want to work for yourself, you absolutely can. I think anybody on this planet can be an entrepreneur. I think anybody on this planet can work for themselves successfully without having the backing of anybody. You just need to believe in yourself. Secret 6. Think in terms of trade-offs, not sacrifices, to find a workable equilibrium. Basically, that secret is really about finding a check and balance for yourself. So with trying to balance out what you're doing, is your career feasible for you? Is your career something that you actually love? Something that is going to have a balance, something that you don't feel like you're giving up your entire life to? I can say that I worked 50 to 70 hours a week at a position. And yes, it was in my career field, but I just didn't like the company. I didn't believe in the company, and the backing I just felt like wasn't really there. And because of that, I had no check or balance. I wasn't balancing myself. And that is something that's just so important. There's a great deal in the end of the book of her talking about getting serious about weeding out people in your life that are not good for you, even if that's your husband or your spouse. She talks a lot about just so many things, but I think that like my biggest takeaway from the book was that anything that you should be doing, you should love it. And anything that you're doing, you should be able to laugh about it if it didn't work out for you. It shouldn't be something that you scrutinize yourself for. So basically, overall, reading this book has changed a lot of my ways, has changed a lot of my thoughts on things, and I feel like The Secrets of Six-Figure Women is a book that's a must-read for any woman. Like, honestly, truly, she talks so much about women have such a hard time, like, we have such a hard time speaking up for what we want, and that's, like, one of the main bases of this book, and, like, main bases of this book. She talks a lot about how women have a hard time speaking up for ourselves in the workplace, and that's one of the main bases of this book. And that's something that I can admit that I've struggled with, that I think most women can admit that they've struggled with. And I think that a lot of the things of this book that it brings up is also valuing yourself, self-esteem, how to gain all of it back. Also, in the very back of the book, she goes in depth to kind of give you like an easy 101 on how to invest your money. Like, this book is just absolutely amazing, and to have the knowledge right here and you can read it whenever you want is, in my opinion, like one of the best things that you could do. So I don't know, I just felt like doing a book review today. This is something that I think I might do kind of often, just any book that I go about and read. I focus mainly on, or pretty much only buy books that are written by women, just because I'm a woman and I relate to them the most. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about The Secrets of Six-Figure Women by Barbara Stanny. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. This book is on Amazon for I think about $12, and I will see you guys in the next one. Go ahead and comment below also what other books you would like for me to review.